Last night, the Buffalo Bills made three trades before completely backing out of the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft. And today, we're going to break down each of those trades as well as discuss what the Buffalo Bills are going to do tonight on day two. And for the first trade, the Buffalo Bills made a deal with the Houston Texans, moving down two spots from pick 26 to 28. The Bills gave up their first round pick 26, and their third round pick 91, in exchange for Houston's first round pick at 28, their third round pick at 66, and their fifth round pick at pick 167. A very clever way to move up more than 20 spots in the third round. Now for the second trade, an in-division deal struck by the Bills and the New England Patriots. The Bills moved down three spots in the first round from pick 28 to pick 31 and also received a fourth rounder, pick 125. Again, not a bad trade, adding a fourth rounder just to move back three spots. And lastly, for that third trade, the Buffalo Bills struck a deal with the Tennessee Titans, causing them to move completely out of the first round. The Titans received the 31st overall pick, as well as Buffalo's third round pick 69, and Buffalo's fifth round pick 165. Buffalo went on to move back to pick 35 in the second round, receiving pick 66 in the third round, and a fourth rounder pick 101. A clever way to move up a few spots in the third round while also adding an early fourth round pick. I really do think it was Casey Concepcion no matter what at pick 26, but then when he was taken at pick 24 by the Cleveland Browns, the Bills looked at their board and the list of players they really like, and they realized that all of these players would be there early in the second round. If not all, then most of them. Because that's just the reality of things right now going into day two. A lot of prospects that most people expected to be gone on day one are still there on day two. To start this draft, Buffalo went in with 7 picks, and now they have 9. 35 in the second round, 66 in the third round, 3 picks in the fourth round, pick 101, 125, and 126. Another sequence of back-to-back picks in the fifth round, pick 167 and 168, pick 182 in the sixth round, and pick 220 in the seventh round. Overall, I'm really happy with the moves Buffalo made last night. Now things look a lot more well dispersed as opposed to just picking at pick 26 and pick 91. Now with day 2 just hours away, let's talk about some players that could be targeted by the Bills in the second round. Let's start off with my 2 favorite players available. Denzel Boston, the last good wide receiver available, was expected to go in the first round, would be great value here at 35, as well as Jacob Rodriguez, a linebacker out of Texas Tech. Buffalo have done extensive work on both of these prospects. Now for some other players. Defensive tackles Caden McDonald out of Ohio State and Kristen Miller out of Georgia. Miller met with the Bills back at the Combine and came in on a top 30 visit. And then at edge, you have Zion Young out of Missouri. At defensive back, you have McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. AJ Halsey out of LSU met with the Bills on a top 30 visit. And Jalen Kilgore out of South Carolina also met with the Bills. And now shifting our focus to the third round, pick 66, my 2 favorites, Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle out of Texas Tech, and wide receiver Skylar Bell out of the University of Connecticut. Some other fits you can name are Chris Bell, the wide receiver out of Louisville, met with the Bills on a top 30 visit. Jeremy Bernard, the wide receiver out of Alabama, met with the Bills at the Combine. Defensive tackles Kristen Miller, if he's still there. Dominique Orange out of Iowa State, met with the Bills on a top 30. And then at edge, you have Jayshawn Barham out of Michigan, met with the Bills at the Combine. Linebacker Josiah Trotter out of Missouri, met with the Bills on a top 30. And then for defensive back, Jalen Kilgore, if he's still there. And then I also have 3 late third, early fourth prospects that I really like. Linebacker Caleb Elarms-Orr out of TCU, met with the Bills on a top 30. And then 2 corners that both came in for a top 30 visit with the Bills, Julian Neal out of Arkansas and Malik Muhammad out of Texas. And now let's do a quick mock of what I think will happen on day 3. It's been rumored that several teams at the start of the second round are getting calls to move down, one of them being Buffalo, and that's why I have them making a trade. I know, it would be their 4th trade without even selecting a player, but it makes a lot of sense to me. I have the Baltimore Ravens moving up 10 spots, receiving pick 35, and a 4th round pick 125. And for the Bills, I have them moving down 10 spots to pick 45 in the second round, receiving pick 80, a 3rd round pick, and the 7th round pick 250. Buffalo would then have 3 picks on day 2, allowing them to come away with 3 players at the end of the night. And with their first pick at 45 overall, the Buffalo Bills select Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. I think I'm off the wide receiver train just because of the fact that they've passed up on Omar Cooper twice and Denzel Boston 3 times. Now they could certainly take Denzel Boston at 35, but if they do trade back, I doubt he's there at 45. Instead, the Bills add a stud linebacker to their defense who's ready to play out the gate. Moving into the third now at pick 66, the Buffalo Bills add a wide receiver in Skylar Bell out of the University of Connecticut. Josh Allen has 2 new weapons added this offseason, trading for DJ Moore in March, and now Skylar Bell. An extremely athletic, versatile, and productive talent. And then at pick 80, the pick obtained through the trade with the Baltimore Ravens, they'll add Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle out of Texas Tech, teammates with Jacob Rodriguez. The Bills had a big boy on the defensive line who can help bolster up that run defense as well as contribute in the pass rush. And then after drafting linebacker, wide receiver, and defensive tackle, I would love for the Bills to attack the corner position in the 4th round. As I mentioned earlier, 2 players heavily linked to the Bills and that really stick out to me as prospects: Julian Neal out of Arkansas and Malik Muhammad out of Texas. Let me know your thoughts on what happened last night, the Bills making 3 trades to back out the 1st round, and let me know in the comments what you think Buffalo are going to do tonight. Will they stay put? Will they trade back? Will they go wide receiver, defensive tackle, linebacker? Let me know. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to like this video. I'm so excited for day 2, probably my favorite day of the NFL draft. You got rounds 2 and 3. I'll see you guys soon. Take care and go Bills.